Hello again, and welcome back to FSD TV. I'm your host, Mark Sonny, and today we have Jenna Breite back with us, who's going to teach us about measuring the area of household items, things that you're probably used to seeing over and over again over the last several weeks. So, Jenna, take it away.
Hi, you guys. I'm Mrs. Breite. I teach over at Hermosa Drive. I am so excited to be here, and I'm so glad that you could join us. So today we are going to be learning how to calculate area of a rectangle or a square. And the materials you are going to need to find some objects in your house that are the shape of a square or a rectangle. So for me, I went into my kitchen and I grabbed my kids' favorite cereal, Lucky Charms, because I went, that's a nice rectangle. I also grabbed a game from our house, Play 9. If you've never played it, you should try it. I grabbed a novel that my students are reading in our 4th grade class by the Great Horn Spoon. I went into my daughter's room and I grabbed some artwork from her wall. And I grabbed a family photo in its frame that are nice and rectangular. You are also going to need a ruler. If you do not have a ruler, no worries. You can go check out Mrs. Zuka's lesson using the link that is attached on the screen, and you can learn how to make your own inch ruler. So let's go ahead and get started. So to start with, what is area? Area is the amount of space on a surface. So if you look at our sign that we have up here, we have the area is all of that space inside. To calculate area, you have to multiply the base times the height. So if you have here, the base is what's on the bottom and the height is what's going up. So the formula that you can use is area equals the base times the height. So we're gonna start off with measuring our By the Great Horn Spoon novel. So I'm gonna lay it nice and flat so it's easy to see. And I have my ruler. I'm going to be very careful when I measure that I'm starting with my 0 on one edge, and I'm going to measure the base first, and it is about 5 inches. Okay, so I'm going to come over to my board. I'm going to go, my base is 5, and I'm going to write the abbreviation for inch. So now I'm going to come over and I'm going to measure the height of my book. So I'm going to make sure I line this up nicely. And it's about 7.5. I want to use whole numbers to start off with, so I'm going to just round up and make it 8 inches. So to calculate the area, I'm going to go back to my formula, which is area, which I'm going to abbreviate as A, equals base times height. And I'm going to go ahead and plug in my base, which is 5, making sure that I write inch, because that's the unit of measurement we're using, times my height, which is 8 inches. And now I just have to multiply. So I just have to go and multiply 5 times 8. So I'm going to keep my A being there. And I know that 5 times 8, if you're not sure, you can go count by 5, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. So I know that 5 times 8 equals 40. And when you are multiplying your units, instead of just writing inches, because it's not 40 inches, area is written as 40 inches, and then you use an exponent and do 40 inches squared. All right, so let's go ahead and let's measure another object. So I'm going to put my book over here. So we are going to measure my family photo frame. So we're going to lay it nice and flat so it's easy to measure. We're going to start off by measuring the base of it. So again, remembering to line up your ruler where the 0 is at the very edge. And my photo frame is 12 inches. I'm going to go record that on here. So the base of my photo is 12 inches. Now I'm going to measure the height of my photo. go here. The height of my photo, it's about 9.5. So again, I'm just gonna round up to make it a nice whole number to 10. So I'm gonna have my height be 10 inches. So again, going back to our formula, we have area equals our base times our height. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug that in. Our base is 12 inches times our height of 10 inches. So now, if I'm not sure, I'm like, ooh, 12s are really hard, but I know my rule for multiplying tens where I can just move my decimal or just add that 0. So I can go, okay, well 12, if I move my decimal, I know that it's 120 inches, and don't forget, it's not just inches, but it is inches squared. All right, so that's the area of our photo frame. So I'm gonna put this over here. All right, so up next, let's do the area of our Lucky Charms. So I'm gonna lay it nice and flat. I'm gonna start with just measuring the base of it, which is the bottom. And I'm lining up my 0 very carefully with the edge. And it is, look at that, exactly 10 inches. So I'm gonna go ahead and record my information here. So my base is 10 inches. I'm gonna come back over and I'm gonna measure the height of my box. So being careful to really line up that 0. And it is about, it's really close to 12. So I'm gonna say that it is 12 inches. All right, so now we're gonna go on to our chart and we are going to remember that area equals base times height. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug in my base of 10 inches times my height, which is 12 inches. And then I'm gonna go ahead, okay, 10 times 12. Oh, would you look at that? We already did that. 10 times 12 is 120. And we know by now it's not just inches because that would just be stretched out. It's inches squared. Perfect. All right, let's go ahead and measure our next item. We are going to be measuring Play 9. Again, a super fun game. So we're gonna start off by measuring the base. So we're gonna be very careful, make sure we line up that 0. And it's about 7.5. So I'm just gonna round up to make that, again, a nice even number and round it up to 8. Go record that on my chart. So here we have 8 inches. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna measure the height of my box. So here I'm at 0. It's at 5.5. So I think I wanna round that up to get a nice even number, nice whole number of 6 inches. So again, I'm gonna write down my formula because it helps that you write things down just so that it helps you remember, especially when you're first learning. So here we have area equals base times height. Our base is 8 inches. I'm gonna write A equals 8 inches times our height of 6 inches. And now I'm just gonna go ahead and multiply 8 times 6. Let's say you're like, oh, Mrs. Bright, I do not know my multiplication facts very well. That's okay, here's a trick. If I am multiplying a number by 6, I can do, okay, well, what is 8 times 5? I've got my 5s down packed. So I know 8 times 5 is 40, and then you just add one more group of 8 to figure out 8 times 6. So 8 times 6 is 48. And you guys already know that you're gonna write inches squared. All right, on to our last item, which is a picture frame from my daughter's room. So we're gonna go ahead and lie it down nice and flat. We are going to measure, and it is exactly 4 inches. So the base is 4 inches. I'm gonna go record that on my chart. And now I'm gonna measure the height of my picture here, or my artwork. And my height is exactly 5 inches, so we didn't have to round up. So I'm gonna start with, again, just writing down my formula of area equals base times height. And then I'm gonna plug in my numbers. My base is my 4 inches. 4 inches times my height, which is 5 inches. And now I just have to multiply. I have to multiply 4 times 5, which I know is 20. If you didn't know, you can count by 5s. You have 5, 10, 15, 20. So we're gonna record that here. And we're gonna write inches squared. So that is how you figure out the area of a rectangle. The same formula works for the area of a square. So I want you guys to go find objects in your house just like I did. Ask your parents if it's okay if it's something on the wall, like I took this off of my daughter's wall. Make sure you ask them first, make sure it's okay. And I want you to go ahead and measure them, calculate the area, make sure you write it down, all right? So I would love for you guys to go ahead and try that. And thank you so much for joining me. I hope you guys have a great day and have fun finding objects and figuring out the area. All right, bye you guys.
Thank you, Jenna, for that tremendous math lesson on finding the area of items we have around the house. On behalf of everyone here at the FSD TV studios, my name is Mark Sonny, and have a great day.